How's it going, guys? Welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be going over the off-season for the Vancouver Canucks so far. So there's still quite a ways to go in the off-season. We got the month of August and the month of September, and then we really get to like the end of September is where you start to get to training camp, like mid-September, and then end of September you get some preseason games in training camp, and then you get the start of the season in October. So we got about halfway through September and a whole month of August, which just started around the 4th. We just got the NHL 26 reveal now. Feels like a little late. I feel like we got that later than we usually do. Matthew Tkachuk's on the cover. I do like that. I haven't seen if there's a special edition. I hope it's Johnny. But that's not the point of this video. So, with a little bit of the offseason to go, the Canucks could still make some moves, and we will talk about that at the end of the video. Potential moves they can make, what I think. I made a TikTok, YouTube short of what I think. So if you guys haven't seen it, you just watch these videos, then I'll explain it at the end there. So the Canucks started their offseason before the draft, trading the fourth round pick that they got for Vasily Podkolzin in the trade with the Edmonton Oilers in the training camp around last season for Evander Kane, which is kind of like a replacement player for Dakota Joshua. Now, I'll get into Dakota Joshua in a bit, but he brings size, physicality, and speed. He's going to stick up for our players, which is something we desperately need. There's a lot of times where even a player that would stick up for our players would get hurt, and no one would stick up for them. JT Miller was a good one at the start of the season who would stick up with him. There's the whole feud. We had to get rid of JT Miller. Yeah, it's nice to have physicality. It's nice to have speed. He could bring some goal scoring. He could produce points. He's still pretty good. He was 50% in the playoffs. So if he keeps up the same point pace that he did in the playoffs with the Edmonton Oilers, he'll get 42 points this year, which I'd be happy with. Maybe up that by 8 and get 50. I'd be really happy. But I like this Kane trade. If they put him with Pettersson and Pettersson gets his game back, they could be deadly. Then secondly, they drafted Braden Coots. I really like this pick. Braden Coots, I was kind of, you know what, I did like half scouting. I kind of did what the Canucks did. I was like, Cole Chesney's there. I like Cole Chesney. Done. Resney. I keep saying it wrong. But the Canucks were the opposite. They're like, Coots. We want Coots. And they got Coots, and I'm happy about it. I like his player. His player comparables, I like his style of game. I think it was a really good pick for the Canucks. I think with their pick, I know a lot of people are saying Victor Eklund. I like Coots more. We need more of the second line center with like a two-way game kind of play than we need a offensive Swede. And it's nice to pick a Canadian because let's be honest, like as much as we could have some good Swedes, some good American players, you need Canadian players. Canadian players help. And it's not just being like a biased Canadian. You can ask American fans, they'll be like, oh, Canada's never won a cup. But you need Canadian players to win a cup. The other picks, I like Wilson Bjork so far. He looks really good in that summer showcase. I don't know if he'll make the World Juniors team for the Swedes. I don't know if they iced one or two teams. But I hope he does. I hope he produces, and I hope he develops. Like, that'd be a really good 5th round pick, I think. Medvedev I really like in the 2nd round. Because every time we pick a goaltender, everyone's like, oh, do we really need another goalie? And then it's like, well, they're not going to be in the league for 5 years, so he might come in by the time Demko and Lankinen are done. That's about it. I know Durbin, Lansing, and some other ones. I haven't seen too much on them to really talk about them. Gabe Sherratt was another one, I think. But now we move on. Demko and Garland. So Demko signs 8.5 for 3 seasons. I like this deal. I think the AAV is a little high, but you got to sacrifice that going up for the term to go down. So yeah, I'd put Demko in the range of 6. For maybe like an 8-year deal, 7-year deal, right? So drop it to 3. I think 8.5 is maybe a little bit of a stretch, but I could see it. So I don't mind this deal. If he's healthy, he's really good, and if he stays healthy for these 3 seasons, 8.5 will definitely be worth it. If he gets hurt, then yeah, it might hurt us a little bit, but I do think that the team would sign this contract with the best intentions of Demko being healthy and hopefully playing the whole season. Not maybe as much as we think, and then maybe a little more next season, and then if Lankinen gets moved, a little bit more. But Garland, I like this deal, 6x6. It's just a little bit of a raise, and by percentage of the cap in a couple of years, it's going to be about the same money he was making before, and he earned a raise with how he was playing. When he came to Vancouver, he upped his point totals. He's consistently upped his point totals, and he's been on a better average in terms of the last 4 seasons than he was before he signed the contract that he was previously on. So hopefully he can raise his game just a little bit more. I think he might. He might play a little bit more top 6 time, and maybe that will help Connor Garland. I definitely think that Connor Garland might be a little bit of a complimentary player where if you put him on that top 6, he could actually help out and help the other players produce a little bit more. I really like his game, and I'm happy he's sticking around. And it's 2 Americans that wanted to stick around, which made so this American would also want to stick around. Brock Besser's back for 7 years at 7. I didn't write this one down. I don't know why I didn't write this one down. I apologize, guys. Brock Besser is 7.25. That's what it was. 7 years, 7.25. When I saw the notification, pure shock on my face. I did not think that he was going to come back. I'm happy he does. Same thing with Garland. Same percentage cap around. Demko's the only real one that's like, it's a big race. But Besser, Garland, about the same percentage. Hopefully they could produce just a little bit more than they did last season. Garland had a really good year, so if Garland sticks around there, that's fine. Besser, he needs to produce a little bit more, but the whole team had a down year, so I'm not going to scratch everybody for having a bad year. The next thing they did was they signed Pierre-Olivier Joseph to a league minimum deal. Not sure if he starts the season. I think a lot of people agree that he might start the season in the AHL. I think that it's definitely a possibility, and I think maybe Victor Mancini definitely could take over his role as like the 7th defenseman, and I think DPD makes the lineup. So he might just be an injury fail-safe just in case Willander's not ready and we don't really have anyone to bring up. Just someone who's been in the NHL before, who can play in the NHL and be trusted with the ice time that they need to be trusted with if an injury happens. I think that's what Joseph is, and if Mancini's not doing well, he can get sent down. So then you bring up Joseph, and Mancini, he maybe does a little bit better than Mancini, or Mancini's game picks back up, then you flip him again. So yeah, not a big signing for our decor that's going to change the look of it. It's just someone who can provide insurance, because we don't have Noah Juleson anymore for that, and I think I'd rather Joseph than Noah Juleson a little bit. As long as he doesn't throw hits that cause goals, I'm happy, because Noah Juleson would throw a lot of big hits, but then they would cause goals, and then he would have some good moments. But yeah, that's really it. That it's not that big of a signing. Alright, and then next, they traded Archer Shelovs for a 4th round pick and Chase Stillman. I still think they won this trade. A lot of people are like, oh, we could have got more for Shelovs, or we should have kept Shelovs and got rid of Demko. I think the Canucks did the smart thing. I think the Canucks did the right thing. I think Shelovs is an NHL proven. If he proves himself in the NHL level, good for him. Like, it's that. We get a 4th round pick, which is kind of what we thought, 4th, 5th. But we also get Chase Stillman, so we get a little bit more. I think eventually Pittsburgh will win this trade, but I think right now with the situation, like what the Canucks kind of backed against the wall to kind of do, have to get rid of Shelovs, they did really good. They did really good. So that's what I think they win. I think Pittsburgh will win in the long run if he becomes an NHL caliber goaltender. But if he stays a tweener, I think the Canucks did a really good job. The next one, they needed cap space, so they had to move someone. And I already alluded to it in the first thing that happened with Evander Kane getting traded for. They traded Dakota Joshua to the Toronto Maple Leafs for a 4th round pick. It sucks to see Joshua go, but if you think about it, Kane brings physicality and maybe a little bit more speed and a little bit more goal scoring. I know Joshua has a high shooting percentage and had a really good season. He had a down year because of reasons that are valid. He had a hip injury, and the cancer. But I think that you had to sacrifice someone in your lineup after trading for Evander Kane to try to go get a 2C, which is what they're trying to do. And Josh Williams was the player. Now, granted, this all could have been avoided if they didn't trade for Evander Kane. But I kind of like Kane a little bit more upside. But with that being said, that's all the moves they have made. I don't think they've made another one. A little bit on the Abbey side, they lost a lot of players. Tristan Nielsen just signed with the AHL team in Colorado, the Eagles. DiGiuseppe went to Winnipeg. Sammy Blais went to Montreal. Kara, Smith, Hirose are all off the books at the moment, I'm pretty sure. Hirose isn't signed yet. Same with Nate Smith. But they could sign in Abbotsford or they could sign elsewhere. They lost McWard as well. They lost one more? There's one more. I think that might be it. But yeah, Abbey did kind of get gutted. They brought in some guys and not sure. Maybe some more young guys come in. I could see Chase Stillman definitely is going to go play there. So they brought in that. Maybe Ravinskis comes in. Maybe did we trade for his rights, right? We didn't sign him. Safonov, maybe they signed him. And then they got Jimmy Schultz, who I think is on a two-way NHL contract. Mackenzie McGurchin, who's on a two-way NHL contract, and Joe LeBate, who's on a two-way NHL contract. But they also have guys like Josh Bloom, who could come in. Braden Coots can't come until next year if the CBA allows it. But yeah, there are not really any new players coming in. Maybe they'll have Max Sasson or a guy like Archie Baines next season. But yeah, Abbotsford got gutted, but the Canucks, I think, did a solid job. Now they have $3.725 million in cap space. $3.27 million in cap space. But they're looking for a 2C. Rosselbeck is looking for about, I think it was about 3 something. Might have been like under the Canucks' cap space, but I don't know if they get him. I think they should wait. Their projected deadline cap space is $14 million. It's kind of like just under 15 mil. So wait, Vancouver. Wait a little bit. Let that cap open up a little bit and then make a big move. Or, I don't know, go for a guy like Jared McCann. You don't have to sign a contract the other way when you wait a little bit. Sure, you'll have to take a hit not having a legit 2C during the start of the season, but if you guys start off hot, do really good, adding that 2C, which is going to be even better. Think Elias Lindholm. Think like if we made the Elias Lindholm trade, but not trading as much this season. That would probably help us a little bit more, right? But yeah, that is it for this one. That is it for the off-season recap. Next week is I'm going to do still early, but not as early lineup predictions. So, thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one. Check out the videos up here. The video on your right is the video from Friday. The video on your left is the video from Monday. Subscribe's right down there. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.